last. He's, getting to the paint and pick and roll and gets the ball down the floor, even when you try to pressure him, which is something we've, struggled with without Chris and Book in the lineup and campaigns, getting the ball down the floor. He's been able to do it pretty well. So we'll see how it goes.
It landed, you came off the hip. And you got it again with the foot.
Yeah. It's just a tough go for him. I mean, I feel bad for him. You go through stretches like this, it's not normal, but it's not uncommon, if that makes sense. You look around the league, there's probably a few guys that have had like one thing after another. So we're hopeful to get him back soon.
Coach, with Dario, it seems like he's obviously been more comfortable in more minutes lately. Just what have you seen from his ability to maybe not be a lead playmaker, but initiate some things?
Yeah, I like that he's just catching it and shooting the ball, not thinking about, who's on this side or that side. He's been taking his shots. And then from a playmaker's perspective, I still think he's getting comfortable in that. I thought he was more comfortable at the 5. At the 4, it's a little bit different because you got a quicker guy guarding you. When he's playing the 5 and there's a bigger guy guarding him, it's a lot easier to transfer the ball from side to side. But I do like the fact that it seems like every game he's playing, he's playing in more natural, a natural pace, if you will, as opposed to hesitating when we, tried to play him in spot minutes earlier this season.
And then I guess you're going to know the answer to this, but Cam Johnson coming back tonight, is he going to start after all or come off the bench in that kind of limited minute role?
We'll see.
And Monty, Chris, was that medical decision that came from the medical people?
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I'm not going to divulge that, but it was just the decision that was made this morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does Cam kind of pile under your usual with guys in this position of consistent dialogue throughout the game? See how
we have a cap on his minutes tonight. Even though he's done a lot more than most guys to get back on the floor. Still want to be smart with him. It is my eyes conversations, but also have a cap on the minutes we want to play him. And then I'll just watch him, and we'll see how it goes. But we do have an allotment that we're looking at, or a cap, I should say. I think I said that 3 times.
What have you seen from Brooklyn in the limited time we've seen them without him?
I mean, the game that I've watched without him, they're playing a lot more ball. It seems like us, when you lose a guy like that, it takes away some of your ISOs and pick and rolls. And so there's transferring the ball to the second side and trying to attack the paint. Kyrie gives you a different element, though. He can play in both ISO and pick and roll, but teams have been trying to get the ball out of his hands. And when that happens, whoever catches it, it's a quick 0.5 type action. So, and they're getting the ball down the floor a little bit faster. Defensively, they're still switching. That's pretty much their base defense. So we have to handle that well tonight.
Damian said today that there's just been a different energy with Cam coming back when you watch a guy work to get back.
Mm-hmm.
He actually used the word joy. Have you sensed that? Have you seen that at all?
I mean, he had it on his face today and shoot around. It's been building for a while. The guys miss him. He misses playing. When you see a guy working as hard as he has worked, he's traveled with us. He's been in the gym. I've stayed after a few practices on the road and just watched him work. And I think everybody's just wanting to see him do well. But more than anything, everybody just wants him healthy. And if he's healthy, we know he's going to play well.
So the minute limit, is that something that accelerates from game to game?
We'll probably address that, but yeah, that's typically how it works. It may stay the same for a while, though, just to build up some level of endurance and game awareness and all those things that tend to have a bit of rust on them when you first come back, especially being out close to 3 months. But it's probably going to stay low for a while, and then we'll try to build him up from there.
You mentioned him being on the road. He said he thought that was important for him to his fear over being said.
Yeah.
So he can understand what changes have been made. Maybe from your perspective, how important was it to have him on the road in that?
It's been valuable. We did tweak a few things because we've had so many guys out. And when he played in script the last couple of practices, he was on top of everything. And I think it's helped because he's been in all of our team meetings. He's watching film with us as a team or with the team. And so I think it'll help him tonight. We've added a couple of things offensively and certainly one particular thing defensively that he's used to, but we haven't done it in a while. So anytime you're around like that, it's going to help.
As someone who coached Ben Simmons for a little bit, and hearing all the things that have been said about him over the last few years, what's it been like watching him, get back on the court and kind of be standing?
Yeah, I think Ben is one of those unique players to be that big and that mobile and be a pass first player. It's something you don't see a lot. He'd much rather find guys, he'd rather have 15 assists than 15 points. And that's a dangerous player because he's so doggone big and he can finish with both hands. With Kevin out, he's handling the ball a lot more. And in transition, you just have to be aware of that. And teams tend to back off of him. And I just remember being with JJ in Philly, teams would back off of him and he'd go into a DHO and there was no help because the guy guarding him was so far off. So you have to be aware of that. I'm seeing that a bit more, especially with Curry when he comes into the game and Harris also. So he seems to be a bit more comfortable. And he had a long time off and had the back thing and, a lot of stuff. So he seems to be playing with a better flow now.
Which one went obviously had a different passion of the football going to Europe from you guys. You found guys that take unconventional paths to the NBA, kind of bring a different, just something different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's just those guys. I think he reminds me of most of the guys that have spent a lot of time in college. They're used to the grind. They're used to tough film sessions and being coached and all of that. But then you add the football element. I'm sure there's a different approach to it all. The football guys that I know, I've lived in the neighborhood with a few of them and, you see them leave in the morning around 6 and they come home around 7 in the evening. So that's a different day than most NBA guys. So I'm sure that's helped him understand how long days, tough film sessions, how they work. But he does have a different mentality about him. I think there's an appreciation for what he gets to do just because of his journey to this point. And he's pretty much the same guy every day. He comes into the gym and he screams before he steps on the floor. And I think it's just his way of saying, I'm thankful to be here.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.